Welcome, everyone, to the How to Stand Out as a Job Candidate. This program is a collaboration between Walden University's Career Planning and Development Department and the Walden Alumni Ambassador Network. We thank you again for joining us. Before I hand things over to our presenters, I want to review some instructions for navigating and participating in this session. Audio is muted and video sharing is not available for participants. Feel free to resize or move any of the session content tools around your screen. Next, enter your questions for our wonderful panelists in the Ask Questions section, and we will share your questions as time allows. If you have specific questions, please schedule a career advising appointment. The attendee chat will be available throughout this session. Access the paperclip icon for a PDF of the presentation and download links and resources from the related content area. If any of the tool windows disappear, you may access the toolbar at the bottom of your screen to open it again. As a reminder, this webinar is being recorded and is available on demand through the same link you used to register for the session. Once the session concludes, click Complete the Webinar Survey to provide feedback. I'll now turn it over to Dina Berggren.
Thank you, Kayla, and hello, everyone. We are very excited for this program here today and want to thank you for joining us. If you're actively looking for a new job or are planning to look for job opportunities in the future, then this program is for you. We have brought together an incredibly talented and passionate panel of Walden Alumni Ambassadors who are here to share their expertise in HR recruiting and offer tips and strategies on how to succeed in the hiring process. And I am absolutely honored to introduce the incredible backgrounds, achievements, and successes of our three Walden Alumni Ambassador panelists, starting with Dr. Lucy Tuttle. And Dr. Tuttle earned her MBA degree in 2022 and her DBA in 2024 from Walden University. She is a global strategic talent acquisition leader with over 2 decades of expertise and experience transforming recruitment practices and driving organizational growth. Dr. Tuttle is currently serving as a senior leader of talent acquisition at HCL Tech, leading a global team of 15 recruiters. And Dr. Tuttle's industry experience includes healthcare, manufacturing, banking, life sciences, and telecom industry recruitment. She has been instrumental in securing top talent for major clients, including Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. And with a DBA and MBA specialization in human resource management, Dr. Tuttle brings deep academic knowledge to practical talent solutions, and her approach combines strategic workforce planning, creating inclusive talent pools that enhance organizational representation. And as a dedicated member of the National Society of Leadership and Success and the Society of Human Resource Management, Dr. Tuttle remains committed to advancing HR practices and innovation. And throughout her career progression from roles at Wipro Technologies and Infosys to her current senior position at HCL Tech, Dr. Tuttle has consistently delivered transformative results in talent acquisition and management and aligned talent strategies with business objectives while also maintaining a focus on both organizational success and the candidate experience. And our next panelist is Mrs. Winifred LaFrance Chambers, who is a 2021 Walden MS in Human Resource Management graduate. She is a passionate HR professional and a creative writer with several years of recruitment, employee engagement, and career coaching experience. Mrs. LaFrance Chambers is currently employed as an HR specialist for a public library system, and she is also a healthy workplace consultant and self-published author under the name of Winifred Summers of the book The Toxic Job Playbook and the book Go Outside and Network, a Get Out There guide. She has contributed HR-related articles to the Walden University Career Planning and Development blog on topics such as exploring careers in human resources and navigating workplace toxicity. And next, I am honored to introduce Dr. Nefertiti Holt, who is a 2023 PhD in management graduate from Walden University. And Dr. Holt is a dynamic and visionary leader with over 25 years of experience in belonging and engagement, organizational development, and human resources. As a seasoned senior manager of belonging, Dr. Holt has dedicated her career to fostering equitable and empowering environments where individuals and teams thrive. And under her leadership at Easy Core, the organization became the #1 Newsweek Best Place to Work for Diversity in 2024, with significant gains in global belonging and engagement. Dr. Holt is passionate about cultivating a culture of belonging and ensuring every voice is valued and celebrated. She is a gifted speaker, coach, and mentor who empowers others to embrace their potential and contribute meaningfully to shared success. As you can see, we have an incredible panel with us here today. So let's get started and tap into our panel's wealth of knowledge by asking our first question. Based on your experience in human resources, what are the most common mistakes that candidates make during the hiring process, and how can they avoid them? And Dr. Tuttle, I'm going to hand it over to you to help us get started.
Thank you so much, Dina. A generic resume is a big red flag, in my opinion. Many candidates use the same resume and cover letter for multiple positions, making it obvious that they are not invested because they're not tailoring their applications to the specific roles. Instead, customize your materials to highlight relevant experiences and use keywords from the job descriptions itself. Another common mistake is lack of specific accomplishments. Vague statements about their responsibilities without measurable achievements. Try using the STAR method: situation, task, action, results, to showcase concrete outcomes. For example, for me, I would say I streamlined the screening process, reducing time to hire by 20% while enhancing the candidate experience using the STAR method. Lastly, unprofessional online presence. Many recruiters, including myself, check social media profiles. This helps me eliminate fake profiles. Try to ensure your online presence is professional and adjust your privacy settings appropriately to avoid those pitfalls. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Tuttle. These are all great tips to share. And Mrs. LaFrance Chambers, would you like to share your insights as well?
Yes. So I always say that the job interview begins at the first point of contact. So I think a lot of people downplay the steps leading to the interview, such as if I call you, do you even have a voicemail set up? You'd be surprised how many people I reach out to and they don't even have a voicemail set up, or how quickly you can get back to me. If I send you an email, how do you respond? You would be surprised at how many people do not take those things seriously. I feel like you should present yourself at all times as if you are in an interview. So those are some tips that I would say to avoid the mistake of thinking, oh, it doesn't happen until I'm actually in front of a recruiter, in front of a hiring major, a hiring manager. You should always be on point and be putting your best foot forward.
Those are great tips. Making a positive first impression and being aware even of your email address, of the phone message that you have on your phone when recruiters call. Those are great tips. And Dr. Holt, would you like to contribute your thoughts on this topic as well?
Absolutely. What they both said were excellent. I totally agree with both of those things. Poor preparation for your interviews. A lot of times people are busy, they come late, they come not dressed appropriately. If they are remote, they have background things going on or their kids being in there. And yes, we all are human, but you have to prepare for those interviews. And if you don't know something, people know if you don't know something. Just be authentic and say, I don't have the answer to that right now, and then research it, because you start to build that trust in that interview. If people feel like they can't trust you during the interview process, then you won't move forward. And then they also neglect to follow up. If you have everything right and you have a really good interview, send a well-crafted thank you letter. If people are texting you, and they do that now more than ever, send a text message. Just show them that you're reinforcing the enthusiasm for that role or for that job. And then when you do that, also reiterate key points that you want to follow up on, or that you want to move forward in with that interview process or that particular job.
Mm. Yes, great tips. And the importance of building a relationship right from the beginning, setting a positive impression and having a professional image all the way through the interview and into the follow-up as well. Thank you, Drs. Holt and Tuttle and Mrs. LaFrance Chambers. And now let's move on to our second question, which is, what do you look for in a standout resume? And Dr. Tuttle, would you like to begin?
Yes, for me, I look for several key elements, but the most important for me is a clear and concise structure. A well-organized resume with consistent formatting and a logical flow, which makes it very easy for the interviewer and the recruiter to find information, is key. I look for 1 to 2 pages maximum, unless the candidate is in a specialized field requiring more detail. I also look for tailored content. Again, the resume should be customized to the specific position with skills and experiences that directly aligns with the job requirement. Relevant keywords is also important. A quality resume should incorporate the related industry terminology and the skills mentioned in the job posting to pass through the application tracking system or manual keyword searches by that resume, by the interviewer, and for the recruiter to be able to easily identify whether or not you are a match on paper.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely really great tips. The importance of formatting and tailoring the document toward the specific job target. And Mrs. LaFrance Chambers, what else should be included in a standout resume?
I would say there needs to be some sort of balance. I don't want to be overwhelmed with a lot of information, because most recruiters or hiring managers, we see hundreds, even thousands of resumes. And so we want enough to get a sense of, what you've done, your experiences, some of your achievements, but we also don't want to be overwhelmed. So I definitely agree with, maximum 2 pages, so that we can get to the point, but still have the core of what we need to know. I also would avoid any acronyms for the most part. I think sometimes when you're at a particular organization, you may be used to using certain verbiage, or there's a lot of acronyms floating around, and some people just assume that the hiring manager is going to know what you're talking about, but different organizations utilize different things. So I also think it's a good idea
to write out what those acronyms may stand for. And yeah, so I agree with all those other tips, but those are some things that really are key for me.
Absolutely. And I would say the acronyms, especially for individuals who maybe have a military background and they're transitioning into civilian positions, being really aware of that and not using the acronyms for the military that may not translate. So that's such a great point. And Dr. Holt, would you like to add any thoughts?
Yeah, so I think that a lot of times people talk about what their job description is, and they do a lot of copy and pasting, but we really need to think about quantifiable data. What did you actually do? So for example, instead of saying I managed a team, say I led a team of 20 and I increased productivity by X, and I did it over this particular time frame, because you want to look at what this person is capable of. And I had to learn that myself. So if your resume reads as a job description, throw it out and then say, what did you actually do? What did you actually accomplish? And then I have to go back to what Ms. LaFrance Chambers said. We don't need grandiose. I don't need a big picture of you and highlights and circles and squares. It's nice to have those things, but it just makes it harder for us to digest what that information is. And unfortunately, you also open yourself to bias. So whether you're a woman or African-American or whatever the case might be, when you have all those things, then you open yourself up to bias. And so we want to not be biased when we're hiring people. I want to hire you based on your skill set. So that's what I have.
So important to be concise on your resume and be specific, but also don't go overboard, right? Pages and pages of a resume, it's just going to make it more difficult for the HR recruiter to really understand how are you matching the job that you are applying for. So instead of including everything, make it more tailored to the position that you're applying for. So thank you so much, panelists. And these are all amazing insights. So let's move on to our next question. And for this particular question, I'd like to introduce a little bit of a background. The hiring process has been evolving at a very rapid pace, especially in the last year, with continuous advancement in applicant tracking systems, which are computer algorithms that rank applicant resumes based on how well they match job requirements. And also, there have been advancements in generative AI tools, which are being used by HR professionals to automate repetitive tasks, such as screening resumes and creating job descriptions even. So keeping these rapid changes in technology in mind, how has the hiring process evolved in recent years due to ATSs and AI tools? And Dr. Tuttle, would you like to get us started?
Yes, absolutely. With application tracking system and generative AI, hiring is meant to be faster, more efficient, and data-driven. The purpose of AI and the application tracking system for a recruiter is to reduce our workload and improve the workflow. However, in my opinion, companies should still monitor AI bias and ensure a human touch is in the decision process making. Yes, AI has transformed recruitment from manual to an automated process, but some companies are conducting candidate screening interviews with AI-powered bots. The AI-powered bots, yes, assist with initial candidate screening, the interaction, answering frequently asked questions via chat, but again, the human touch is invisible. Automated scheduling tools are integrated with recruiter calendars to help reduce time spent with coordinating interviews. Again, the human touch is not there. AI-driven video interview platforms are now helping recruiters with analyzing speech, tone, and body language to provide us with a more insight on the candidate. But where's that human touch that a lot of candidates do need to bring out the best in them to help them pinpoint what their qualities and qualifications are. My advice is use an ATS-friendly resume format. Avoid functional resumes. They focus on the skill rather than the work history, which are often confused and confuse the ATS algorithms themselves. So therefore, your resume is being rejected before a human actually sees it. Copy and paste your resume into Notepad. If it remains the proper structure, then it's an ATS-friendly format, and that should help you.
Those are excellent tips. And I also want to mention that career planning and development, we have the Skills First career management system. It has ATS-friendly resumes that are available. And if you're wondering in the audience, is this particular template ATS friendly? The safest bet is to use the Skills First career management system. And Mrs. LaFrance Chambers, would you like to share your advice?
Sure. A lot of great points there. I would say in general, I usually tell people to stay away from like grids or chaotic fonts. I know that there's a big push as far as very decorative resumes and things like that. You want to stand out. So you feel like, oh, if I, put a chart on there, or if I use this really fancy border, and it might look nice when you create it. But again, when it goes through the ATS system, it doesn't necessarily look the same. So I usually recommend that you just kind of have a general, some people might call it an old school kind of resume where, you kind of just get straight to it. And then if you still want to have your fancy, more eye-catching resume, you can still create it. But I would say it would probably be better to see if you could find an email address and then email it to the recruiter or the hiring manager. Or if you're on LinkedIn and then you find somebody's profile and then you want to email that nicer version if you'd like. But AI in general, as it was said, does save a lot of time for everyone. But at the same point, again, as it was stated, it can take away from the interaction. So I feel like it can be really challenging to get somebody on the phone. I've seen people who don't include their email address at all because everything is just so automated. They're not necessarily interested or to speak with you because they have all these systems in place to kind of weed through the candidates. So just something to be mindful of. As it was mentioned, there's software out there to test the documents you created to see if it's ATS friendly. So that's just my input.
Great, many good tips there, and just the importance of using simple formats so they get through ATSs and tailoring the resume toward the job target, again, because your resume is being ranked through ATS systems. And what is your advice, Dr. Holt?
I would say be patient and really take the time to look at the keywords and then have those keywords into your resume. And it does take time, especially if you have to do 20 applications. It's going to take you a couple of hours, but you have to be patient because otherwise you'll spin the wheel by making it fast, but you'll have no traction. And speaking of something like LinkedIn, I had someone reach out to me and they go, hey, why hasn't anyone reached out to me? And I go, I can give you some advice right away. You don't have a picture up. So we don't know if you're real or not. And I know sometimes we don't want to put pictures up because we don't want to be out there in social media world, but that's the world we live in. So maybe 2 days later, he had a very nice headshot. And when we say headshot, chest up, clear background, just you. Not sunglasses on, not you at the beach, not you and your whole family. And I know we want to show off our family, but I'm not hiring the family. I'm hiring the person that's applying, right? So just a clear picture of you, chest up, that's very professional because that's something that we look at. We look at to see who you are and if you are a real human. And then last but not least, we're not saying anything about not using artificial intelligence, but it can't be your 100% source. You're talking 10 to 15%, right? You should be able to write down your own thoughts and be able to maybe use it to generate additional thoughts. Because what happens is you look so great on paper by AI, but when I interview you, that person doesn't match with the resume, right? And so a lot of times we write the way we think, so we end up talking that same way as well. So you want to come off as authentic as possible. You just want to use it as a helpmate, not as a soulmate. Okay, so that's what I have for AI.
Yes, it is definitely, the image has to match, right? Consistent personal and professional brand throughout. And this leads us to the next question about LinkedIn. What role does LinkedIn play in the hiring process, and how can candidates maximize their online networking efforts? And Dr. Tuttle, would you like to begin?
Yes, absolutely. I feel more than 90% of recruiters use LinkedIn to find candidates. LinkedIn and networking are essential tools for job seekers. By staying active, optimizing their profile, and engaging with industry professionals, candidates can increase their visibility and job prospects significantly. Candidates can also maximize their online presence by optimizing their profiles by doing a few things. Use a professional profile picture, just as Dr. Holt mentioned, and a compelling headline that highlights your expertise. Write a strong about section that showcases your skills, your achievements, and your career goals. Keep your experience section updated with detailed job roles and, again, quantifiable results. Use those keywords for ATS optimization. Recruiters search for specific skills and keywords, so include relevant industry terms, not acronyms, in your profiles. Expand your network. Connect with your colleagues, industry leaders, and other recruiters to increase your visibility. Join those LinkedIn groups and engage in discussions to expand your reach. You have to leverage those recommendations and endorsements through LinkedIn. Employees and employers trust recommendations, so making networking is a very powerful tool for landing opportunities. Request recommendations from your past employers, past managers, colleagues, or clients to build credibility, which is very important. Endorse others in their skills. That will encourage them to also do the same for you. Engage with your recruiters and hiring managers. Don't send blind connection requests. I ignore those. Send a personalized connection request with a short, meaningful note. It takes you a few minutes to do that, and that goes a very long way. If you're interested in a company, follow the company's page to stay informed about their hiring trends or even the culture. All of these things will help tremendously. That's it for me.
That's great. Emphasizing that importance of a strong LinkedIn profile and professionalism and communicating with others through networking and connecting with others and building that network. And Mrs. LaFrance Chambers, would you have some additional thoughts on this?
I would just say be direct. I think with social media, sometimes there's a tendency for people to do the small talk. Over the years, I've noticed that LinkedIn has kind of, for some people, taken a turn where people are getting more personal and kind of steering away from the purpose of LinkedIn, which is to be professional. So I'll say, if you are sending a message to someone, just be very direct. Are you interested in a particular position? Are you looking for opportunities? Don't just give the good morning, good morning message, the how are you message. Just get straight to it. And you can really make some great connections. Be mindful of the things that you post, and definitely be aware that people can see when you look at their profile. So if you are, you don't want to stalk or come off like you are stalking somebody at an organization. So just be mindful of those few things.
Absolutely. That etiquette becomes so important, and staying professional. LinkedIn is the largest professional networking site, and it should be all about professional networking, not the personal side of things that other social media platforms could be used for. And Dr. Holt, would you like to add anything else?
Yes, I would say that, be open to using it as a tool. Sometimes people go, I don't want to use it, it's not going to work. Well, I am living proof. The last 2 jobs I've gotten, and then I've been at those organizations 6 years or more, was someone recruited me off of LinkedIn. So people are looking all the time. And on the opposite end of that, you don't want to be at work and put an open to work banner on your LinkedIn when everyone thinks you're good to go. Because then if I'm in HR, I'm going to start thinking I have to replace Neffy because she has an open to work banner. So we can't do that. And nobody at my job is connected to me. There's always someone connected to somebody else. So I would suggest, if you haven't openly communicated that you're looking for work, do not put the open to work banner on your LinkedIn, right? And you can still send those messages and reach out other ways. Not only your content that you post, but you have to be mindful of what you like or celebrate or heart. So politics and other craziness that you say to yourself, when in doubt, don't do it. If you have to say, I don't know if then just don't do it. You don't have to like and celebrate everything that aligns with you, because there's always going to be somebody on the opposite end of that may have a bias towards it. And you don't want any biases to come up as you're looking for work. And I know it's really, really hard, but when in doubt, don't like it, don't celebrate it, and don't even engage with certain things. And if you have someone that you're connected to that does unfavorable things, feel free to unconnect them and move on with your life, because you're also going to be associated with who you're associated with. So that's what I have for LinkedIn, but it is a powerful tool to utilize.
Absolutely. And having a LinkedIn strategy, who do you want to connect with and for what purpose? Thinking about, are you in an active job search? Are you looking for consulting work? Are you looking to connect with Walden University students and graduates, and having that purpose of why you're on LinkedIn and how you're using it? Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. And on to our next question. How can candidates stand out during job interviews? And I know we touched upon that a little bit at the beginning, but Dr. Tuttle, I'm going to hand it over to you to see if you have any tips.
Yes, absolutely. I strongly feel a candidate should think of how can they make a lasting impression during an interview. To do that, candidates should focus on preparation, which is very important, communication, and most importantly, engagement. Try crafting a 20 to 30-second introduction summary about your background, your skills, and your enthusiasm. And some might call that your elevator pitch. Highlight what makes you unique and how can you add value. Again, use the STAR method for behavioral questions. Structure your responses with situations, task, action, and results to tell a clear and concise story about yourself. For example, a situation could be, in my last job, customer retention was declining. The task, I was responsible for improving customer engagement. The action, I implemented a feedback system and loyalty program. The end result, customer retention increased by 25% within 6 months. That's your STAR. Again, it's a quick and easy elevator pitch. For example, also have questions prepared for your interviewer. 3, maybe 5, it depends on the position, of course. Will showcase your curiosity and strategic thinking, which is very important in many positions now. An example of an easy question to ask: what are the biggest challenges the team is facing right now? Or how do I measure, or how do you measure success in this role? The key is to leave a lasting impression.
Yes, preparation is really key, and having an elevator pitch using STAR, another acronym is CARD, challenge, action, result, tie back. both are great acronyms to organize your thoughts when you're responding to interview questions, and bringing questions with you that are insightful and show that you really are invested and engaged in this particular organization or employer. And Mrs. LaFrance Chambers, what else can candidates do to stand out?
Well, I sit in a lot of interviews and a lot of people say the same things. So I think it's key to share your own personal story, because there's a way to talk about yourself and connect that to the mission of the organization, the mission and the vision and the goals. Like there's a way to connect those dots, and nobody can duplicate that. So when I think of candidates that have really wowed us and that have really stood out, it was something about their personal journey, whether it was their academic journey, their career journey, or just something that's significant that took place in their life. And even if the person doesn't necessarily get that job, sometimes their stories have been so powerful that we would say, okay, maybe not for this position, but there's something else that perhaps they would be great at. And, you know, we keep connections with those people. So I would say, you know, within your boundaries, if there's a way that you can share something personal about yourself that aligns with the organization, that is a really great way for you to shine.
Thank you for sharing this. Definitely during the interview, creating authentic connections, professional connections, but also at the same time authentic, so that the responses are not just canned responses, right? And Dr. Holt, would you have any other insights to share with us?
Absolutely. I would say plan ahead, because everything happens on the day of an interview, literally, whether it's the internet, whether it's your kids getting sick. You know, being early is on time for your interview. Dress well, whether you're online or you're in person. Have good lighting. I don't want to talk to someone that's in a dark closet. Remove your distractions, whether it's your phone, if it's Google, Alexa, anything like that. Even your Apple Watch, take it off if it's going to be a distraction. Be confident, and that includes your body language. You know, sit up, shoulders back, and that's online and in person. Research the company's mission statements, values, any recent products. Like, hey, I heard you guys just acquired X, Y, and Z. I'm like, oh, how do they know about that? And then don't just always talk, because as we're interviewing you, you should be interviewing us, right? So that's actively listening, thoughtful questions, be genuinely interested and have some enthusiasm. Look at me, don't look at the wall and everywhere else, right? We want you to pay attention, not anything weird, don't stare too much into my eyes, but definitely look at me when I'm talking. And you want to just make sure that you understand, as we're evaluating you for the job, we're also looking to see if you are a cultural fit. So be aware of what you say and how you say it, like me. I work well, so good by myself, and I did this, I. But if I'm hiring you to lead a team as a leader, I'm going to think, maybe that person may not be a cultural fit because they never mentioned the team or how great they did together or how great they work together. So that's, just be mindful of what you say as well. It should be a us and a we, and how did we all together get the organization in the same direction. So I have my individual goals, my individual successes, but let me also talk about my shared successes. And if you do that, you'll be a standout candidate in an interview.
Dr. Holt, that's such a great point. Team player, right? Helping others and being a good cultural fit, and having body language where you are making eye contact, you're not fidgeting, you are smiling and engaging and open to connections. This is wonderful. And before we open it up for general questions from the audience, I would like to ask the panel one last question. What additional advice would you give to Walden University students and alums who are actively searching for a job? And Dr. Tuttle, let's start with you.
Yes, well, the Career Center is an absolute go-to place for assistance for job posting, resumes, cover letter, any assistance you feel you might need, and leverage your network. Some of your colleagues or your alumni, students, your cohort might be a good source of contact. Again, use every avenue.
This is great advice. And so many jobs are in what is called the hidden job market, where you are finding out about potential opportunities through networking. And it becomes so critical, especially for higher level positions. And many of our master's and doctoral students and alums are looking for those high level positions, and networking becomes really critical in that sense. And Mrs. LaFrance Chambers, would you like to go next?
I would say have confidence. Some people are just nervous interviewers, and the interview process, can be tough. But I would definitely say have confidence in yourself, practice. The more you go over different questions and just go over your answers, pick out what you're going to wear, maybe even have a backup outfit just in case the day of. So preparation, as it was stated earlier, is key. And also you have to have some patience. It's really tough. The job market, it's changing. There's so many different things going on. So sometimes you just have to be patient and just know that your opportunity is coming. Don't get discouraged.
Those are wise words, definitely. And we like to coach students to visualize themselves in their future role. And during interviews, you are there to educate the panel on how you're the best fit. What is it that you have to offer, and how would you add value? And Dr. Holt, any last thoughts?
Yes, I would say stay proactive and persistent. It is easier to try to get a job when you have a job. So if you know that you're headed out the door for whatever reason, start searching now. The job process is long, and rejection is part of the journey. So we as humans don't want to feel rejection, but if we feel it, we let it go, we let it flow, and then we continue to move forward. And we have to embrace that each interview is a learning process. It brings you one step closer to the right opportunity. It's a form of networking, really, because someone says, oh, I interviewed her, but I had someone else, and they may be able to speak on your behalf. Never also underestimate the power of continuous learning. That could be YouTube University. That can be Walden University. That can be CERTS. That could be LinkedIn Learning, right? Whatever you need to continue growing, do that. It could also just be reading a book. I read so many John C. Maxwell books, right? So most importantly, you have to believe in you and believe that your unique self is good enough for wherever you want to go and whatever you want to do, because something is impossible until it's not, right? And so you have to constantly have confidence, be resilient. And lastly, just make sure that no matter what you do, you have a strategic approach in what you want to do. And take notes. Say, I've applied for 10 jobs. Did I get an interview for one of them? And then, send a letter to the recruiter or whoever you spoke with in that company and go, I understand I wasn't a good fit, but can you give me some pointers so I can move forward? And guess what? A lot of times we'll say, wow, they want to know. And I may say X, Y, and Z, and then you can take that to your next interview. So communication is key as well on your journey. But have patience, keep the faith, and no matter what, keep going.
Great tips. And just the importance of being kind to yourself.
Yes.
When dealing with rejection and allowing some time to bounce back and doing things like Dr. Holt said, reading a book, reading some words of inspiration, getting feedback from others so you can lift yourself up and continue that process. And with that, we would now like to open it up for any questions from our audience. Kayla, do we have any questions that have come in for Drs. Tuttle and Holt or Mrs. LaFrance Chambers?
Yes, we do. We have several questions. So our first question goes back to the beginning of our questions. Which social media sites do you all look at?
I can take this one, if that's okay, Tina. As far
Absolutely, yes.
It depends on the role. Many recruiters only focus on LinkedIn. I've also had to look at Facebook just to see, because a lot of people are more comfortable there. But what are you posting, and how does that affect your professionalism? And sometimes I've checked some Twitter feeds. I've also done Glassdoor just as a regular person, just to see what negative comments are being posted there and about your company. Are you part of that crowd? And it all depends. But again, just be mindful, regardless of the platform, just be respectful with one of what you're posting and who might see it, whether you're in the job market or not.
Awesome. Our next question is, well, did anyone have anything to add before we move on to our next question?
I would just say LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn, and most other people use LinkedIn. So you just got to be mindful, because again, it's the largest and the most accessible platform to use. But yes, be aware, like Dr. Tuttle said, we're looking at everything.
Full. Our next question is, on my resume, what about verbs? Should I use those verbs versus using I? What do you think is acceptable?
I would take this one. I would say you would use a combination of both. That's the safe bet. I did X, Y, and Z, and as a result, my team accomplished X, Y, and Z.
I agree.
I agree as well. In some cases, if it's a leadership where you have to show specific strategies that you've personally implemented, yes, the I factor comes into play, but also as part of your leadership, how did your team bring it all together? So it's a combination. I agree with Dr. Holt.
Excellent. Our next question is a question that we have several of, so I know this is a big one for our audience. How do I make gaps in work history look more desirable?
I can answer that, or I can say a few things about that. I'll keep it quick. I think when there are significant gaps in your resume, I think that's something that you can address in a cover letter. I've seen that often where, you put a brief explanation, because it's pretty obvious in most cases that that's going to be a question that somebody's thinking as they're looking through your resume. So some people have mentioned, maybe they were in school, maybe they took time off to travel. You don't necessarily have to give all your personal business, but I think that's a great space to kind of touch on why there may have been gaps in your employment.
Yes, I agree with Ms. Chambers. I've had cases where someone was on maternity and clearly stated that. I've had cases where someone took a year off to complete their degree, and that's clear. But there are some that are contractors and the project ended and now they needed to find another project, and that also causes a gap. But being clear about those things up front instead of the recruiter having to pull that from you is really where the troubles happen. As long as you're clear on your resume, it's not a question that would come up.
I align with both of you.
And I just want to add a little bit to that. Thank you, panelists. I also would say really emphasize your academic program. So many of our students are full-time pursuing their undergraduate, master's, or doctoral degrees, and moving the education section before the experience can help highlight that the individual maybe was not in the workforce during that time, but was actively engaged in lifelong learning and moving toward in their career through pursuing a degree.
Our next question is, can you provide tips on how to condense your career into 2 pages? And this is specifically for those that have 15 plus years.
I guess I can go ahead and start that one. I wouldn't include 15 years.
Yeah.
That would be the first thing. Typically 7 to 10 years is great. And we talk about AI, use that tool and give it the correct prompts to make it concise, condensed with, clear flow or whatever your particular prompts are, and then take another look at it and then continue to rework it until you dwindle it down to what really matters. But again, even if you do that, you still have to tailor it to each job. So the work doesn't stop after you condense it down.
I agree with Dr. Holt.
I agree with you.
Wonderful. Our next question is, do I need to be in LinkedIn Premium in order to be seen by recruiters?
No, absolutely not. You do not. Again, it's all on your networking and how active you are. So that we use specific keywords to find you. So you don't need to necessarily find us. If you are a solid applicant, we will find you, whether you're applying or not. So I wouldn't say investing unless you're a recruiter and you're looking for someone, LinkedIn Premium is not necessary.
That is a wonderful answer. Our next question is also another question that we've gotten a few times. What are some tips for switching fields?
I use transferable skills all the time searching for a candidate. So it doesn't necessarily mean that whatever skills you had prior and now you're focusing on something new, it just automatically disqualifies you. It's all under wording. How your resume is worded, I believe, is key. No experience is invalid. It's all on how you're addressing it to cater to the new role that you're pursuing.
And I would also use LinkedIn as a tool to connect with those individuals that are already in that position and seek feedback from them and ask them what they do and how they can give you information to help you with the resume or the interview process so that you can utilize those transferable skills. Networking would be key there, I would believe.
I agree. Networking, definitely. I would say get out there. Maybe there's some opportunities for you to volunteer, be part of something that is more aligned with where you're going versus where you are. Sometimes even in your current organization, there may be opportunities for you to participate in something that may not necessarily be your current job, but that gives you some exposure. Sometimes you can move around within the organization that you're already part of, but if not, at least you can get more insight and really take from where you are and use that as an opportunity to start to develop the skills that you'll need where you're going.
And I would
Excellent.
like to add to that a little bit that if you are someone who is going through a career transition or have gaps in employment or other individual situations that you would like to work on, you can always schedule a career advising appointment, and our career advisors can support you and work with you one-on-one and provide specific tips and strategies to help you in that transition.
Our next question is, with all of the talk of AI, does that mean we should still hire a professional resume or CV developer?
I would say if you have the money to invest in that, sure. But if you don't have the money to invest in that, you can look at so many examples online of really good resumes and then just curtail it to your specific needs. But I wouldn't say that you have to necessarily hire someone to do so. And you can also ask someone that is already in that position, or your manager or a trusted friend, to review that resume as well and get feedback, and then adjust and adapt based on the feedback you get.
I was going to say, if you do decide to hire somebody to create your resume or CV, I would say it's best to work with someone that's going to speak to you and kind of get to know a little bit about you. There are some people that you'll hire that just create it, email it back to you, and that's it. But I think it's important to have a session. It could be short, maybe a couple minutes, but you want your resume to sound kind of like you. And I know we touched on that a little earlier, where on paper it's one way, but then when you show up for the interview, it's clear that you didn't write it. So I think if you're going to spend money on that, hopefully this is somebody that is going to speak with you, get to know a little bit about you, and connect the dots properly.
I think that is so good of a call out, because I think they need to be reputable and you need to research them as well. That's a great point.
I've had many cases where, and for many recruiters, the first question is, walk me through your resume. If that question just sounds foreign to you and you're unable to walk me through your resume, is it yours? How do you not know certain things on your resume? So that's one of the key things. If you didn't write it, at least put in the time to read and make sure what is there is something that's relevant to what you've done. So that way you're not blindsided during an interview.
And I would like to add that Walden University offers career planning and development, and you can schedule one-on-one career advising appointments for free. There's no charge for students or alumni. And we have a team of talented career advisors who can give you resume feedback, along with over 700 samples in the Skills First career management system that you can use, with 70 of the samples are custom Walden preferred samples that have been developed by our team and also academic leaders across the university. So those are just some of the support and tools that are available to you, and you can use them for free. And one thing that we do is we coach and advise on workplace and professional skills. So as Dr. Tuttle mentioned, if you have someone write your resume for you, you might not be familiar with everything in your resume, and you might not be able to tailor your resume effectively towards specific opportunities. So what we do is we give you the tools, we coach you, and give you the strategies and tips to make that process much easier for you, and so that you know exactly how to tailor to the specific position that you're targeting. And through that process of coaching on career skills and resume writing skills, we can help you be an effective resume writer, and also someone who can identify opportunities and be able to match to the job target. So take advantage of career advising appointments. And I wanted to mention that, and that service is always available for both students and alumni.
Our next question is, as a business owner, how do I work that into my resume if I'm the person of contact for verification?
No, I think I've had many cases, right? Typically, if it's your business, that's clearly identified. So you're more so speaking of what you've accomplished, how you've grown your business, and how you've treated your employees, if you have any. So it's not really a reference case. It's more so on what your leadership was like during the time that you had your business.
And so I want to piggyback off of that. So you can put in there, if there's Glassdoor ratings, and you can say I'm 4.0 out of 5, and my Google ratings are 4.5 out of 5, and all those different
Someone's
things
at the front door doorbell.
to identify what you accomplished as a business owner. But like she said, it's clear in your title that you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, so we would already see that. You just need to speak to your successes. And that could be also including if it's a transition from being an entrepreneur to being in operations, how much did you improve your revenue or your cost of goods or your inventory or your shrink levels. So you can still tailor your resume for that, even as an entrepreneur and business owner, if that all makes sense.
I agree.
Awesome. Now, I know we kind of dove into this, but I just want to go back and make sure that this information is shared. Is it suggested to include a cover letter with each application?
Absolutely. I personally frown on no cover letter. I need to understand, not from your resume, but that's for me is the first impression. What about this role attracted you? Why you? That's one of your opportunities to sell me. And if there's no cover letter, you're just mixed in with the rest. I strongly feel a cover letter is important.
Yes, Mrs. Francis Chambers, she said that's when the interview process starts. So I have to piggyback and give you kudos for that comment. Your interview is a communication on that cover letter, so it starts there, and that's a great opportunity to highlight why you. So, Dr. Tuttle, totally agree with you.
Yeah, I think that although I do know that some don't always read the cover letters, I feel like not writing one is a missed opportunity. Like, why wouldn't you want to take that chance to share more information that can make you stand out, highlight some different things? I feel like it's a win-win kind of situation. It's better to do it than to not do it.
What a wonderful way to close out our Q&A. I know that a lot of you still have questions. Do not worry, we have your information and we will follow up with you. But in addition, as Dina has said, feel free to make one of those advising appointments. I can't stress that enough. Take advantage of that opportunity. Please, please, please. It's there for you. But thank you for answering those questions for us. Thank you, audience, for sharing those questions with us. And I'll turn it back over to you, Dina.
Thanks, Kayla, and thank you, panelists. As we start to wrap up the program, I wanted to share that Career Planning and Development offers many, many resources to help you prepare for a successful job search. If you haven't visited our website before, we strongly encourage you to explore our resources and offerings after this program by navigating to careercenter.waldenu.edu. And here we have highlighted a few of the key resources, including links to some of our key areas of the site, like the Career Exploration tab. We have an entire job and internship search page with 2 custom job search systems. I mentioned Skills First. I can't stress enough how important this system is to managing your career, creating quality cover letters, resumes, and much, much more. Elevator pitches. You can also practice your interview skills and even create career portfolios. And it has tons of AI tools and scans that you can do to generate reports on resume feedback, and even helping you to tailor your document towards specific job postings. We also have a networking tab to help you with LinkedIn networking and connecting to people online and offline, and an entire interview tab to help you prepare for interviews. And of course, you can schedule career advising appointments on any of these topics and much, much more. And also, we invite you to continue engaging in your career development by, in addition to the website and one-on-one career advising appointments. You can also reach out to our team through email with short questions. Follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and read articles and success stories on our blog, including articles that were submitted by Mrs. LaFrance Chambers and other Walden Alumni Ambassadors. We'd also like to get your feedback on today's program. We'd love to know how we did. So please take a moment to complete a short evaluation survey in On24 to let us know how much you like the program and anything we can improve. And finally, don't forget to download all of the materials in the related content module, including the PowerPoint slides and also links to the job preparation resources that are included. So look in the On24 related content module for that. With that, we'd like to thank our amazing Alumni Ambassador panel today, Dr. Tuttle, Dr. Holt, and Mrs. LaFrance Chambers. And if you'd like to connect with our panelists, links to their individual LinkedIn profiles are available on the slide. And they're also available in the bios module and On24. And in the bios module, you'll also find a link to Dr. Holt's newsletter and Mrs. LaFrance Chambers' blog as well, to gain more insights and wisdom into their expertise. And I also want to send a huge thank you to the manager of the Alumni Ambassador Program, Mr. Ulysses Wilcox, and to the entire Alumni Ambassador Network, who are a tremendous group of mentors, thought leaders, social change agents, and Walden University advocates. And also a huge thank you to you, Kayla, for hosting our session here today, and with also to all of our audience who contributed their insightful questions. And best wishes to all in navigating the job search process and landing your next job opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.